magic makers, and welcome back to the Metaphysical Apothecary. We are your hosts, Shannon and Megan.
Hi, everyone.
Also known as the Scorpio Sisters, here to explore the mysterious, the magical, and the arcane.
Welcome to episode 3 of our superstition series. In the second episode, we touched a little bit on ways to implement superstition in your practice to help counteract paranoia, to help break through scarcity mindset. So we're really going to examine that in this episode in depth.
Within this episode, it's very much a personal journey with yourself that you need to go on if you're reevaluating what your superstitions are and whether or not they are resonating as useful and or incorporative in your magic and your spiritual path for yourself. What's interesting is that a lot of superstition has a placebo and nocebo effect based off of personal belief. So if you believe something to be lucky, it's going to be lucky because you have now assigned that task to being lucky. That's kind of the placebo effect. You can take a sugar pill if you believe that sugar pill is helping you medically. Researched evidence has shown it will actually help deal with whatever ailment you're taking it for. There is also a nocebo effect, which is the complete opposite. When you believe something is detrimental to you or unlucky or brings misfortune, you are then having a nocebo effect because you can actually cause this to happen. You can cause that sugar pill to become the worst thing you've ever done because you believe it to be the worst thing you've ever done. A perfect example of observation universe at play and being creators within the creation. You can choose to see things as positive or you can choose to see things as negative, and whichever way you perceive them is the way that it will unfold in front of you. That this is actually something that pharmaceutical research and medical science has to take into consideration when they're testing new procedures and new drugs and new ways of treating different ailments and illnesses. They have to do a double-blind test because of the placebo-nocebo effect. And it has to be double-blind because not only do you need the patients or the people who volunteered to test the new treatment, the people administrating that new treatment also have to be blind to whether or not group A is getting the actual medication or is group B getting the actual medication.
Because their body language will give it away.
Yeah, exactly. The body language of the nurses, the doctors, the personnel who are there as the researchers implementing the double-blind test will give away through subtle body languages whether or not the medicine they're handing out to this group is the placebo or the medication. And then the group will then pick up on it. They don't even have to realize that it's through body language. It's human instinct to know what someone else is projecting just for safety reasons.
Absolutely.
The pharmaceutical research and medical science is doing tests and experiments with that placebo-nocebo effect in mind and having to work around it. You can tell just how powerful the human mind and perception really is.
You can. Our brains, our perception of things sends out vibration into the universe. We can see this through the placebo and nocebo effect, right? That sends a vibration through our subtle bodies out into the world. It can rebound back on us and have an effect, and it can also create our experience outside of ourselves. How we view superstition, how we relate to it, has a very profound effect on how we exist in the world because of this. Certain superstitions are very deeply ingrained in pockets of the collective consciousness, while others are more universal. So some of them are cultural and more bound in spirituality, whereas others are more societal and bound in just practical tenets of everyday living.
Yep.
But allowing ourselves to be ruled by superstition is a really good way to invite misfortune and poor experiences into our lives. If you think about the placebo-nocebo effect, you're able to judge by someone's body language which kind of medication you're getting. So if you believe in something enough, it's going to either harm you. If you believe in a superstition and you accidentally don't obey the rules of that superstition, you're probably going to experience some misfortune for a little while.
Yeah. You've created a scenario where you've allowed a negative mental loop to happen that is now looping outside of the mental landscape and into your physical, everyday, mundane life.
Exactly. To avoid getting entangled and ensnared in all of this complex folklore, it can be very useful to create a personal lexicon of superstitions to help disentangle you from these things, to help pull you out of that web. Especially if you are the sort of person who carries a lucky rabbit's foot and feels like they have to find a four-leaf clover whenever something bad happens, or it's one of those things you do to comfort yourself, and there's just nothing wrong with that. I've known people who do this and adhere very strongly to superstition, but you have to make sure you're using it and it's not using you. A few ways that a personal lexicon of superstition might benefit you are in terms of promoting shadow work to counteract anxiety and paranoia. And you can also lean into the ominous energy of the superstition and use it to your advantage. In the last episode, we talked about mirrors and ladders being used as liminal spaces and broken mirrors as portals and doorways. One of the things we didn't talk about that you could use a broken mirror for is you can use a broken mirror to lock away or banish things that no longer serve you.
If you can use a ladder, taking down a ladder as taking down a structure that no longer works for you as well.
Exactly. With the mirror, there are a couple of different ways you can banish the thing. You can put a symbol using your finger or water or oil or whatever you want to use, representing the thing on the mirror, and smash the mirror on purpose. Or you can smash the mirror on purpose, then rebuild it over top of a symbol representing the thing you want to get rid of.
An interesting way of doing the symbols is if you got a sigil that you drew on top of the mirror, but it's the same sigil or the same shape or the same forwards and backwards. So that way, whatever's on the other side of the mirror is reading it the same way that you're reading it. I know that there's certain words or things that are read the same way forwards and backwards.
Palindromes.
Palindromes? Okay. Words, numbers, phrases, or sequences of characters which reads the same way forwards and backwards. And you can make a palindrome sigil or symbol that is read the same way on our end or your end of the mirror and on the other end of the mirror where you're holding or banishing or closing a portal.
Exactly. You can even make it a permanent part of a structure. If there is an area of your property or your home, or there's even a box that you would like to seal up energetically, you can take that mirror and you can use it and reconstruct it, or even take several mirrors and reconstruct them as a mosaic with particular patterns woven into that mirror that are meant to lock something away. It's going to be really hard to take down. Unlike some of these things that you see where people are busting through walls in their homes and finding whole rooms that have been sealed away and going, hey, we're going to renovate this. And it's like, no, you're not going to renovate that. That is sealed up for a reason.
Probably not the best idea, but live and learn.
Which brings up an interesting point, though, because we can also use superstition and cautionary tales like that as a form of protection magic. Again, you don't want to get mired in the negativity. However, you can use superstitions as protection. So if you do find something creepy in your home and you're superstitious about creepy things you might find in your home because where you grew up or personal belief systems, you can use that caution to protect yourself, both from whatever energy might be coming out of that thing and also whatever practically might be coming out of that thing. Say, for instance, I move into a new home. I find an old steamer trunk in the basement that was left there. Am I going to open it? You betcha I am.
Oh, yeah.
Am I going to be stupid about it? No. The first thing I'm going to do is bring that out into a bright, sunny space. I'm not going to examine it where it sits, but I'm also going to put on coveralls. I'm going to put on a respiratory mask, and I'm going to put on protection for my eyes because I don't know what kind of mold or fungus or anything else might be in this thing. The third thing I'm going to do is either myself cleanse the ever-living crap out of this thing with incense, with water, with whatever, or I'm going to get somebody else who's more powerful and really knows what they're doing with this particular possibly haunted item to do it for me. Then I will open it, and then I will examine it, and then I will decide what to do with it.
Mhm.
So that's an example of how superstition can protect you. So that's all we have on our topic for today. Thank you so much for listening in, and we hope you'll join us again soon. In the meantime, you can follow us for more witchy wisdom, both here and on our blog. And you can also check out our original art on Society 6 for sacred decor and more. Thanks again for joining us. Go make some magic and live your best life.
Bye.